Yes, yes, bless up people you don't know. It is I and I, Blind Visionary, aka The Conduit, back with another review. Today I'm going to be talking about the latest release from Benchwarmers crew member, Travesty. Album is called Reminisce, 90s shit. And it's one of those throwback pay homage to the golden era albums. The OG album to do this, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if something came before it, comment and tell me if it did, but as far as I know, the first people to do this concept is self-titled and Buckwild with the album 1990 Now. And that was a flawless execution. The difference is Buckwild actually used beats from the 90s that he still had in his stash that him just never give nobody. So him kind of resurrect them, and self-titled with the way he MC'd kind of brought it into the new school era. So it's like the best of both worlds. So anytime somebody do a project like this, I hold it by that standard. And that has to be the case with this project, Reminisce 90 shit. Now, off top, I'm going to say Travesty, the MC, I have absolutely no issues with what he did throughout this project. Besides, I just wish that there was some subject matter, some substance, some concepts, and it wasn't just rhyming. But in the same vein, the musical palettes presented and the vibe presented kind of just requires just rhyming. So I don't know. I would like to actually hear a normal produced album that's not like this boom bap vibe or this old throwback vibe from this dude, to kind of hear if he has something to say, because like I know what he's capable of as an MC from this project, but I just feel like I don't know who Travesty is really. I kind of know from the song Judgment Night, like the come up and the grind and like the scene he was a part of, but like I don't really know anything besides, okay, you have a dope voice that sounds like a hybrid of Evidence and Rockness Monster from Helter Skelter, but more laid back. And you can rhyme and you feel comfortable doing what you're doing. And I kind of want to know if there are layers, because the potential is definitely there. And I just think you had to kind of act accordingly on these beats. So I get it, and I'm not going to trip. And overall, this album has a lot of good songs. Like, there are a couple that I kind of have to shake my head at, but it's not because of anything any of the MCs did. It's just because, okay, a lot of the production is very similar, and some of it is better than some. So it's like you have a beat in a song that's doing something, and then you have another beat in a song that's doing something similar but slightly better. And that's the case, I would say, throughout the second half of the album. The first half is very, 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 very solid. And it ends with a very, very, very solid song. But they're kind of just like, okay, these songs don't need to be there, or they could have been on better beats, or more, like there was more variation wanted on my end. But who knows, like people who really into this shit will probably like it. And it's like, you're going to get a vibe that's different if you're somebody who born, say, in the 2000s, and you're listening to it as a time capsule, versus somebody who grew up in that time period and was there in real time as it unfolds. Like it going hit cards in your mind and strike a nerve, as far as, yeah, this was the vibe, this was the sound. And I think this album delivers quite excellently, and I can't be mad at it. I just wish, again, certain beats were more like layered and not just so simplistic, and in some cases it just sounds like it's just but anyway, like I said, nothing taken away from the MCs. If you're into these kind of concept albums, if you're one of those people who loves and goes over the moon when you hear a certain vibe, then you'll be kind of very, very at home with this album. I kind of wonder if I was to hear these beats at the time when they were meant for, like, if, say, for example, 93, 94, 95, 96, I would say those 4 years. If any of these beats came out at that time, how would I have reacted? Is that like that's something I want to ponder, and it's something you should ponder, because like depends on who you are and where you're coming from, and like what you like. This is going to vary as far as how it impacts you. But yeah, overall good project. Like I said, big ups to Florida, because Florida is not just Kodak Black and Trick Daddy and Rick Ross and all that ratchet shit that goes on in Florida, because hip hop is everywhere, every corner, every crevice, every crack. Like the underground is everywhere. So yeah, you done know. Big up to Florida, big up to the Benchwarmers crew. Interested to hear if anybody else in the crew is on this level. I'm not sure if the features on this project are from the crew or is just in brethrens or whatever, but for the most part, the features did their thing. Anyway, it is time to get to the part of the review where I break down song for song and just give quick thoughts. And there's not going to be very much because, like I said, a lot of the songs kind of are in the same vein as far as just rhyming. Some are better than some because of the beats, but the rhyming is consistent all the way throughout for the most part. Anyway, oh, and before I forget, cuts by DJ Yachts. Hopefully I got that name right. So yeah, any sampling or cuts or anything you hear in the choruses is courtesy of him. And he did an excellent job with that. So big him up. You always have to acknowledge the DJ in this hip hop shit. Remember that. There is no hip hop without the DJ. So yeah. With that out of the way, let's get into the track breakdown. First song, Basement, for my collectors. And okay, I don't know. I thought I had production credits. Guess I was wrong. But yeah, this kind of comes and continues on the whole thing of come out the door swinging. Opening track is very important. And sonically, this beat embodies exactly what this album is. Again, Reminisce, 90s shit. Anybody who's been there, as soon as you hear it, you gonna feel the familiarity instantly. And you know, when you hear certain rappers, you kind of know if them gonna kind of hit home immediately or this is not for me. And it didn't take me more than a couple bars to say, okay, I like this Travesty dude. Like, sure, he's not like the most super lyrical, complex wordsmith in the world, but he gets the job done, and you can tell that he's very comfortable in his MC skin. And this is a nice opener, kind of just touching on the title, kind of him rhyming, but yeah, there's a digging, going through shit aspect. And throughout the project, he mentions the word tape a lot. So he kind of is, even though a modern MC as far as the cadence and the vibe, I guess him rapping from the perspective of being in a time machine and being in the 90s. So that's kind of dope. So yeah, nice opener. So then we'll move on to the next song, Criminal Rap, featuring Money Mowgli, or Mowgli, however you pronounce it. Apologies if I pronounce it wrong. But this is a continuation of the first song. First song, production-wise, is slightly better, but this is still pretty dope. And the feature from dude, Money, is pretty on point. I like his energy. I like what he's saying. I can kind of relate to it and tell that, okay, he's reflecting his authentic experience. So that was dope. Big up to Money Mowgli. You know, when you collab, it can sound forced and be an epic failure, or it can work and the MCs can gel and complement each other. And this is what happened on this song. So yeah, so far so good. Okay. So then we have the third song. every season. Now, the thing about this song is my personal pet peeve, which is this is a reused sample. I think Showbiz used it on a song called Friends on KRS-One's 1997 album, I Got Next. And he did a lot better job than this beat. This beat is not a bad beat, but I'm comparing it to the sample I heard first, and it's just too simplistic and just too stripped down, and I wish there was more. So it's like I can't not want to hear Friends when I hear this song. So even though the rhymes are on par, this is the first kind of like, okay, is my personal pet peeve somebody who doesn't know the song or somebody who doesn't mind multiple use of the samples, you won't have a problem with this song. It's not a bad song. It's not a bad beat. It's just I listen to a lot of shit, and I've listened to a lot of shit for decades, so I'm pretty jaded. So yeah, I'm very specific about what I like. And like I said, it's not a bad song. It's just me. So anyway, next song is Too Thorough. Now, beat says exactly what the song is. It's a thorough joint, thorough beat, thorough rhymes. MC being an MC, paying homage to the golden era. This song gets everything right that it's supposed to get, and it's just like one of those bangers that keeps the momentum going into the next song, which is, okay, hold on. Analyze, featuring H2 Owens and Orion. Hopefully I got that middle name right, because that middle name has the verse of the album, in my opinion. Like, there's nobody else, including whose album it is, who even comes close. And I believe if you ask everybody, they'll tell you the same, unless they're haters. I mean, it's undeniable how ill that verse was. And yeah, Travesty held his own, but I can't say the same for the MC on the tail end, Orion. And the issue I have with Orion is something that's not his fault, which is his voice. It sounds a lot like Slim Shady EP Eminem. And it's not his fault, like I said, because that's just how he sounds. And his verbiage, word schemes are fine. I don't have any issue with that, but I can't not, like with the other song with Friends, like I can't not hear that shit. The Showbiz version, like I can't not hear Eminem when I hear that. So, but overall, not a solid song. And then we have, wait, hold on. Round the Clock featuring Serum. Not a solid track. Like, so far, song is just smash after smash after smash. So far, so good. And you're digging the vibe as you listen. And this beat, I kind of wish I had a skateboard. That's the first thing that comes to mind when I hear it. And you have to remember, this is an album that's supposed to trigger nostalgia. So if it's triggering nostalgia, then yeah, it's doing its job, regardless of what I have to say about it. It kind of just triggers certain things when I hear certain things, because, music does that, especially music that comes from important parts and places in your life. Like, you can hear like even a split second of the shit and it just triggers a vivid memory and just takes you back there. So as far as the vibe goes, the album is on all cylinders up to this point. Then we'll get to When My New Shit Drops, which is another textbook example of, if you are listening to top tier production that wasn't RZA from 1995, which I would say is like a height, climactic part of an overall dope golden era. But this, from like the drum breakdowns and everything, this epitomizes 1995. And the chorus has a good energy about it. And it's basically a revisited subject as far as a rapper who just put out some new shit talking about when them new shit drop, which hasn't dropped yet. But yeah, it works. And by now, I'm like, okay, very comfortable with how Travesty is doing his thing, and still continuing in my thoughts as far as, yeah, I want to hear some more varied shit from this guy, like some up-to-date production. I want to hear what him can do with concepts. I want to hear about his life, his personal shit. Because yeah, him can rap. So don't waste that awesome talent, bro. Trust me, you have it. And if you didn't, I would tell you. Anyway, moving on. We have Break It Down featuring Joker Wild. Well, sort of featuring Joker Wild. This is like one of the weirdest things I've ever seen on a song. Now, this is where the beats kind of start to get bland and similar. Travesty does his thing, like I've stated before on a few occasions in this review. The issues of this record don't come from him. So I was kind of wondering, like, okay, why is Joker Wild on the song doing ad-libs, and then he literally drops in with 2 bars and then is gone again? And I thought like he was going to get tagged back in, but nope, that's it. And it's a pretty short song, so it kind of feels like, okay, the album wouldn't have suffered if it wasn't there, because Joker Wild is also on the posse cut, so then you get to hear it. So that's good. But yeah, I just was like, okay, this is when it kind of starts to, what's the word I'm looking for? Become one-dimensional. And you're looking for something else and you're just not finding it. And other people could be fine with this, but it's like, okay, it takes a lot to impress me. And if you get my attention, you kind of have to vary and go on different levels to kind of keep that attention, whether it's subject matter, whether it's the beats getting doper, the beats having range, whatever it is. And I just feel like, okay, this is just more rapping over some beats. And this is where we get to track 9. And track 9 is the only song where beat-wise, I was like, no. Like the music aspect is like super, super simple, just like the song that came before it. But I don't know about them drums. Like picking the perfect drums for the perfect sample is very crucial. And I just don't think these were, I mean, they aren't bad drums. They would just sound way better and more familiar over something else. And like, these type of drums aren't from the boom bap 90s era either, but anyway. So yeah, we're kind of on a point where like, yeah, this is 14 songs. So far, it could be down to 12 songs. Like these 2 songs that I just brushed over, like, okay, they're just there. And again, the MC tried to do the best with what he was given, so I'm not gonna fault him for that. But then we kind of make up for it with track 10, which is Judgment Night, which is a kind of weird song, because when I heard the title, I thought it was gonna be like some dark, grimy shit. And I was like, are they gonna sample anything from the actual Judgment Night movie or the Judgment Night soundtrack? And lo and behold, they did. They actually sampled the Onyx and Biohazard song, Judgment Night. But I don't think it fits the sound palette. It's kind of just like, okay, it's like you're throwing hot sauce on ice cream. I don't know. That's how I felt in the beginning. But then when I started to realize what Travesty was doing, where this is like, let me take you down memory lane and show you my came-ups, my spots and the stories and the grind. Like every MC owes it to their listener to do a song like this at some point. And I think like I was expecting something different from the title, but what I get from it is a lot of hip-hop grinding takes place at night, you know, whether it's clubs or studio or whatever. So this was his judgment night, you know, his rite of passage. That's my interpretation of it. And it was done very well. Like, I mean, I wish there was more of this because I want to know who Travesty the MC is. So yeah, and I just wish the beat, like remix this or something, because this song has potential. It would be a good single. It would be a good introduction to the listener, to the artist. So the potential with the song is there. I just think that the beat kind of holds it back a little bit. Anyway, drop it all on them. Rhymes are fine. Beat is fine. It's just a bar fest. Nothing really specific here. But what completely takes me out of the experience is the fact that they sample Lin Q song, or basically is the same name, a song called Let It Fall on Them. But the Lin Q sample is off. MC Light's part is fine, where she's saying drop it all on them. But the Let It Fall on Them part is off. And I'm like, I know I'm blind and I have really good hearing, but it's not that hard to pick that up. And I'm like, huh? To the Scooby-Doo, huh? Them really let that slide. So this could have been a song I have no issue with. But because of that, I have to point that out. That was just like, yeah, please don't let shit like that slip by. And I don't know how you did too, because like I said, it was obvious. Luckily though, we're kind of getting to a point where, okay, the album is closing down, it's winding down, we reach track 12, so it's 3 more songs left. But these 3 songs kind of make up for what was lacking in the songs before. And Hardest Part brings back the same skater vibe that came up before. It also specifically reminds me of sitting down and watching Rhapsody at 4 o'clock religiously. So I'm going to label this the Rhapsody Reminisce song. So cheers to this song, you don't know. And then we'll get to the posse cut, Southside, featuring Belief, Knowledge Medina, Joker Wild, Six Cardinal, and okay, I can't name all these names. This is a posse cut. So I'm reading stuff off my phone, hence the earplug. And yeah, it like by the time I say or I'm saying the name, it's like saying a bunch of other names. But just know this is a posse cut. And the beat is an appropriate posse cut beat. Because it's a bunch of MCs and they don't want the song to be 20 minutes long, everybody has 8 bars. And the beat kind of drops out and comes in with the chorus between every verse. And Travesty provides the chorus and he's all smooth and laid back and it's a vibe. I can dig it. You know, not a bad posse cut at all. But the final song, Holding It Down, what a way to end an album. You start strong, you end strong. So even if you falter a bit in the middle, the starting and the beginning and the strong points more than make up for it. And this is probably my favorite beat on the entire album. This and the first joint out of all, because like I think those beats nailed the idea perfectly out of everything else that's found. So yeah, they landed it. Nice, dope album. I can't really complain, but again, I'm comparing it to 1990 Now by Self-Titled and Buck Wild. But yeah, I mean, if you're looking to find some new, fresh artists who have respect and know what I'm doing in this hip-hop shit, then check out this album. Reminisce, 90s shit by Travesty of the Benchwarmers crew. Florida represent. You don't know. Hip-hop is alive and well. The underground will never die. Big up. Respect. Peace and prosperity. I have spoken.